Well, happy 4th of July, everybody. But I believe by the time this video will be out, it will be already July 5th. So it doesn't matter anyway, as long as I said it. But today is a very special day. As you know, it is America's birthday. So we're going to be, of course, reviewing Stardom with their much recent show, Nighter in Korakuen. So once again, they return to Korakuen Hall. We have a very special match where we see, of course, the Golden Generation minus Utami Ishida team up. Maika, Saya Ida, and Saya Kamitani. And then we move on with TNA. As you know, we are now on the road to Slammiversary. So we got two qualifier matches that are taking place. We have a bit of a Spitfire showdown and everything else before we get to Slammiversary. And then, of course, we move on with Ring of Honor, which is, of course, a very special occasion. The Infantry, as you all know, they have been doing a little special thing because it's the 4th of July. And then we have 3 Proving Ground matches. So that's going to be interesting to follow. And then we cap up our episode with some news updates. So we're going to talk about what events the promotions are thrown out, who's booked, what matches are set, including developments that are happening in the world of pro wrestling that needs to be addressed. So, let's get ready for another episode of Deleted Wrestle Zone.
Are you ready? Get up, get up! 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 Get up, get up!
Hey everybody, welcome to Deleted Wrestle Zone, all things that is pro wrestling with AEW, NXT, New Japan Pro Wrestling, TNA, the National Wrestling Alliance, various promotions, wrestlers, matches, and championships. I am your host, J-Rod here. So, if you are new to the channel, welcome. This is the channel where we do a lot of pro wrestling reviews from various promotions, not only here in the United States, but also in Japan, Mexico, Canada, Europe, the UK, anywhere in the world where pro wrestling is not as big, but it continues to grow. We also, of course, do discussion videos, talk about various topics such as the wrestlers themselves, the promotions, factions, storylines, whatever we want to talk about. We also do more news updates. If certain information is not put on this episode, I can either put it on the next episode or on a separate video by itself. We also do real-timing news updates to keep you guys on alert if something has happened in the world of pro wrestling that needs to be addressed ASAP. We also, of course, do the United Sayaka Watch and various other cool things as well. So if you like what you see, please subscribe to us or click on that subscribe button. You'll be getting a lot of daily reviews and other cool wrestling content as well. But, however, if you like this episode, please give us a like on the like button or a nice comment in the description down below. Now, all introductions have set aside, it's time to hit the pedal to the metal. So, let's begin with our very first review, and this is from Stardom. Okay, Stardom. Nighter in Korakuen. Now, this is their much recent show. They are back now in Korakuen Hall. It opened up with, of course, the rookie Ryan taking on Tam Nakano, the cutest in the cosmos, yes. So some of you may question, why is Tam put in this type of match? Well, you got to remember, Ryan is still an inexperienced wrestler. She hasn't gone much of the experience like we've seen with Hanako, Rana Yagami, and who else? Sakurada, uh, uh, oh yeah, Sakura and Sakurada themselves. So that's the reason. However, you can probably guess that this match ended when, of course, Tam applied a running knee strike. So you can say Ryan will learn some things in this match, but of course, Tam did mention on the post comments that she is going. Hopefully, she has become stronger the next time they meet. But Tam has no intentions, of course, taking her in. That's probably obvious, but that's another time. Now, our next match, we have, of course, Azusa Inaba teaming up with Rina once again. Now, remember, these two ladies did team up recently in, of course, at New Blood 13. They face against EXV Hanako and Waka Tsukiyama. Now, don't forget, the main goal with some of the much lesser experienced wrestlers is to, of course, get, um, of course, a shot of the new blood tag team titles. However, of course, Waka and Hanako still has their mindset. But however, Rina and her tag partner Inaba do have their sights set now. But of course, I'm sure Rina will probably look at Waka, like she always calls her, a shitty old hag. So basically, as you know, Waka already exceeded her her 3 year experience. But however, she's not gonna stop just by listening what Rina would say. But however, I have to say Rina and Azusa really picked up a very good win, because you would have thought in their minds that the stack was against them, because Waka, as you know, learned a lot over the years, and of course you got Hanako, who's big, but that did not play out pretty well. It was, of course, Azusa with her new move known as the Baba Killer, and put away Waka in a pinfall, and just like that, it was over. But however, could this put them in a predicament where they'll no longer be in a conversation for the new blood tag titles? Well, we don't know, but we do know Rina and Azusa do have their mindset on that. Now, our next match, we have Cosmic Angels, Sayaka Kurara, Aya Sakura, and Yuna Mizumori taking on Stars, consistent of Momokoko, Hanan, and Azuki. Now, we have seen in over time, but both, of course, Kurara and Sakura have grown so much. Same thing with Mizumori. I mean, these two ladies, I wouldn't be surprised if one day they aim for the artist belts. That's something, will be something. But right now, Kurara and Sakura's main goal is the new blood tag team belts. So they have to keep working on themselves. Of course, Tam did say that they have grown very fast, and of course, looking forward to it. But in the end, it was, of course, Hanan with the Hanan special onto Kurara in order to end. But we will see a lot more developments with the rookies of Cosmic Angels, and of course, guiding them to get them where they need to be. Next up, we have Mei Sita and Azumi versus EXV's Xena and Mina Shirakawa. So this is a very interesting thing. Now, Mina, as you know, made her way back from from the U.S. after Forbidden Door. So, this question, who will have the advantage of it? Well, I was surprised, because it was Mei Sita who picked up the win when she applied the Rolling Star on Xena. And just like that, 1, 2, 3 is over. So that means Mei Sita has automatically pinned 1/3 of the Artist Champions. So basically, Azumi and Mei Sita and a partner of their choosing could challenge for the Artist belts. But the real question, would it be Zuzu? Will it be Starlight Kid? I don't know if Amasaki's ready for it, but anything's a possibility. So, of course, this is going to put EXV in a very tight predicament. Now, our next match, we have Oedo Tai, and we have Fukigen Death, Ruka, Tekla, Momo Watanabe, and Natsuko Tora taking on Hina, teaming up once again with Godzai, consistent of Rana Yagami, Saki Kashima, Konami, and Suri. Now, you would think, now remember, last time, when Konami and Suri were able to win, when they won the Goddess belts, as you know, Natsuko Tora has already laid claim that they would actually get their hands on these belts. However, it was Tekla who did that when she pinned Suri. So basically, that gives her an automatic opportunity to pick up the title shot. But she has no, problems with Godzai, because, as you know, Tekla has been aiming to destroy the idols like Tam Nakano, Natsupoi, Sarunoi. Reason is that she believes that they're an infectious disease that needs to be eradicated. But Tam is not going to stay down no matter what Tekla says. But however, most likely Konami and Shuri may have to defend the belts against Tekla, and of course a partner for choosing. And if it was me, I would say Momo Watanabe would be the most logical choice. Now, our next match, we have Miyu Amasaki teaming up with Starlight Kid. They face against Star members Koguma and Mayu Iwatani. So yes, it's interesting to see Starlight Kid on the opposite corner once again of Stars. Now remember, Mayu was being a bit selfish in hopes that Starlight Kid would return, but as you know, the other members of Stars, especially Momo, decided that it was best that she does not return. But we have seen Amasaki has grown significantly. I know that she felt that she made a promise to Tommy, but due to the situation with what happened to her with Queen's Quest, it still hits her. But however, it was of course a standing dragon sleeper by Mayu onto Amasaki that allowed her to pick up the win. Now our next match, we have this one was announced last week. We have Restart, or should I say, members of the Cosmic Angels, Natsupoi and Sayuri Nui, taking on the ladies from Sendai Girls, one half of the tag team champions, uh, Manami, and of course our current red belt champion, white belt champion, and of course the Sendai Girls world champion Mika Iwata. So this is one of those matches where, of course, Sayuri Nui has to get her sorry pardon my language, her head out of her ass after being depressed. So that kind of puts it in a predicament. However, this was one of those matches where it got really intensified. But however, this match ended in a 15-minute time limit draw with no winner. But at the promo, it appears that Mika Iwata has been waiting for an answer. As you know, next week she will defend the white belt against Sayuri Nui. But however, she decided to raise up the stakes. And the stakes is for the Sendai Girls World Championship. So basically, Mika doesn't put herself. It doesn't seem like she is in a whole lot of pressure. But however, this would be put in a very predicament for Sendai Girls. We just don't know how, but we will see what happens. But Natsupoi said that after the whole white belt challenge, she'll be next. So we'll see where that goes from here. Now our main event, we have Lady C once again teaming up with members of Garza, Tomoka Inaba, and Ami Suri to take on the Golden Generation, Saya Ida, Saya Kamitani, and Maika. I have to say this was a pretty good match, but especially how this one ended, because as you know, Lady C once again was on the other side of the spectrum from Kamitani. Now those who remember, back almost a couple years back in 2020, Lady C's opponent, her debut opponent, was ironically Kamitani. And of course, ironically, if you guys remember, she did team up with her to face Nana Takahashi, and of course, her partner choosing that later turned out to be Kairi Sane. So that sets it up. But however, we have seen how Lady C has developed, but she hasn't picked up a big win just yet. But it was Kamitani with the Star Crusher that put her away and allowing herself to pick up the win. But at the post match, Lady C decided to cut her hair. Apparently, she is willing to let go of things with Queen's Quest and move forward. So she has no regrets about anything, and I know Kamitani doesn't. But she did state that she will pay attention to her on her progress where she goes. But don't forget as well, much like Sendai Girls are having their show on the 15th, so is GTO. As you know, Maika will defend the red belt at the GTO event against Tomoka Inaba. So basically, that's what's going to happen. So we'll see what happens until then. But as of right now, we'll end things here with Stardom and move on with TNA. Okay, TNA. It opened up with Trey Miguel versus Leon Slater. I have to say, what an amazing match. Now, we have seen Leon Slater. Those who haven't, Leon Slater is a British wrestler who normally appears with Rev Pro. He has been very fantastic. Don't forget, he has an amazing move, which is a Swanton 450 splash. So that's always been one of his favorite moves. So the match was amazing until TNA had an unexpected visitor coming all the way from NXT, and that person is, of course, Charlie Dempsey. No one expected him to show up, so he showed up, started beating the crap out of everybody. He took out Zachary Wentz, then the referee, but many referees and security tried to tell him to leave, so we don't know what's the extent. However, because of this match, how it ended, the Rascals were pissed that, of course, you invaded their territory. So basically, they felt like this is not gonna happen. So they decided, they're gonna deal with him and whoever next week. Now, we do see an interview with Matt Hardy and his wife Rebecca. As you know, they will be facing against Alicia Edwards and Eddie Edwards. So basically, it's a power couple tag match. So we'll be looking forward to it. But of course, Matt said that Rebecca was out for almost 8 years and they just dragged her back in. Kind of like that whole phrase with in The Godfather. Once when I was out, they pulled me right back in. So basically, that's a classic, guys. You know how that is. Now, our next match. Now, this was a match that was booked by Lars Fredericks. Now, remember, he plays manager and he's also a musician with Rancid, the same guys that play that song Ruby Soho. So, while the match was going on, we did see a very video of footage where Nick Mennett was in fact in the backstage knocked down. We don't know he was found by his brother Ryan. We just don't know. But however, Jody Threat and Danny Luna, you would think that one of them would come out victorious. But as you know, teaming up, sometimes you'll try to learn who they are when you're in the ring with them. But this match ended in a time limit draw. I think it was 10 minutes. But however, in the post match, they demanded 5 minutes to be extended. But unfortunately, Masha Slamovich and Alicia Edwards attacked them. It appears they don't want to deal with them in the future, but I'm pretty sure Lars Fredericks is not going to take that kindly. I wouldn't be surprised if this match takes place at Slammiversary, and that's the last thing I think Alicia Edwards is going to get. So we'll see where that goes from here. Now, as you know, Mustafa Ali, who is crying and bitching like a little girl after last week, who feels that Mike Bailey does not deserve a shot of the X Division belt, Will Santino, he said that he'll give him in a number one contendership match next week, which is not what Mustafa Ali wanted. He's like saying, I want him gone. He doesn't deserve a title shot. But Santino, he doesn't give a damn what Mustafa Ali wants. It's all about giving the fans what they want. So that's the thing that he has to live with. And of course, he can bitch all he wants. Excuse me. Alright. Our next match, as you know, we continue with more of the Road to Slammiversary qualifier match. We have Frankie Kazarian versus Mike Santana. Now, don't forget, ever since Frankie made his return to TNA, we do know he has his sights set on the TNA World title. Same as Mike Santana. Now, the match was pretty good, but however, that piece of scumbag, Dango, shows up and tried to get involved. He attacked Mike Santana, and this was under orders from the system. As you know, they consider him as a threat. Now, this is where the confusion happens. We all presume it was Nick Mennett that they targeted, but it turns out the target was Mike Santana, but it was weird. And of course, Dango being all happy, I wouldn't be surprised that if Dango gets his ass handed to him next week. I know Santana is not going to take that lightly, so he better pray to who he prays, because that is. But of course, Frankie Kazarian happy as a lamb. He gets what he wants. But I highly doubt he will win the title. Now, as you know, the ABC has an opportunity to challenge the system for the TNA World Tag Team title. So we will see what happens until then. Now, 2 weeks ago, we witnessed what happened to PCO and Steph DeLanders. So the doctor tried to revive Steph DeLanders, but PCO did that. So basically, he brought her back from the dead. Now, AJ Francis, as you know, the scumbag of the earth, who thinks that money solves everything, well, he thinks that he got away with it. But however, Santino told him that he will put the digital media title on the line against PCO, but he is not too worried about him. He thinks that he's not coming back. PCO is not human. I wouldn't be surprised. So we'll see where that goes from here. Now, our next match, we have Alicia and Eddie Edwards taking on Rebecca and Matt Hardy. So basically two couples who will reign supreme. So you would think this is going to be a fun match. But of course, X Factor, the so-called professional wrestler, or should I say, the most professional moron, Brian Myers, was there at the side, but unfortunately he got his hand caught in a cookie jar and he is out of here. But This still doesn't solve nothing because, as you know, the system likes to cheat their way through. But luckily, thanks to Alicia for being an idiot, distracting the referee, Rebecca decided to give Eddie Edwards, a kick in the gonads. So basically, the ref did not see it, and then of course Rebecca applied the twist of fate, knocking her out. And the same thing with Matt to, of course, Eddie Edwards, allowing for them to pick up the win. Now, of course, Brian Myers decided to bitch the situation to Santino, but the ABC were laughing, saying, well, he got what he deserves. And then Dango showed up, and then, of course, Dango will be next week facing against Chris Bay. But like I said, I wouldn't be surprised if Dango gets his ass handed to him by Mike Santana. He thinks he got away with it. Nope. You never met a guy like Santana before, and I think many of you know it all too well. Now, as you know, Jordynne Grace will be defending the Knockouts title at Slammiversary, but the one thing that irritates her is Ash by Elegance decided to go on vacation rather than prepare herself. She thinks that going on vacation is going to make better. But, of course, Jordynne Grace said that next week there'll be another open challenge. She doesn't care where they're coming from. She'll defend it. Now, our main event is another, of course, Road to Slammiversary qualifier match. Jake Something versus Joe Hendry. I thought this match was fantastic. Now, don't get me wrong, Jake Something is a very strong and powerful wrestler, but I feel that the fan favorite in this match was Joe Hendry because everybody believes that possibly, just possibly, Joe Hendry will be the one to win the TNA World Title at Slammiversary. And of course, he did that with a much powerful standing ovation, allowing himself to pick up the win. And of course, he made people say, I believe. So we will see what happens. Now, the system, as you know, when the show before it ended, the system were happy how things were going. But however, Moose said to Dango, the great job what you did to Nick Meneth. But of course, he told him, no, I took out Santana. I never took out Nick Meneth. And then, of course, the question is, who was it? Then the cameras turned to Frankie Kazarian. So the question is, was it Frankie who did that? I wouldn't be surprised if it was. But we'll see what happens next week. So, it depends on his condition, how he is. So we'll see what happens. But as of right now, we end things right here. Let's move on with Ring of Honor. Ring of Honor. Well, it opened up with, of course, a very special 4th of July stuff throughout the entirety of the show with the infantry. Now, those who know the infantry, you guys know these guys have served in our U.S. military. Carly Bravo served, I believe, with the United States Army, and as for the captain, Sean Dean, our United States Navy. So it's great that they decided to do something special for the fans, since, that's who they are. Now, I did mention there's going to be some, of course, proving ground matches. Now, we have 3 of them. Now, let me skip on certain things to get those out so we can get to the proving ground matches. Now, we did see in the backstage, Athena, Billy, and Lexi were having a bit more time. However, they were interrupted by the arrival of Queen Aminata and Red Velvet, and of course, Athena had protection. However, Red Velvet announced that at Death Before Dishonor, she'll be facing Billy Starks for the ROH Women's World Television title, which Billy has no problem. But however, Queen Aminata said that she'll be facing Athena at Death Before Dishonor for the ROH Women's World title. However, Athena thought, oh, she's stupid, I can't clear it. But however, Aminata and Velvet actually reminded them that there was a memo sent to everybody, mostly to Lexi. So apparently Lexi had to tell her. At first she thought it was a hoax. It's not. So basically Athena does have to put the belt on the line. So the reason you probably ask yourself, why is that? Simple. They don't Aminata and Red Velvet don't buy this crap that she's injured. They think she's lying. So basically it's somehow they pled their case. Now, we did see a little bit of a video package from two former WWE superstars, but recently they've been appearing in various independent shows. We're talking about MXM, Mansoor, and of course Mason Madden, formerly known as Mace. So they will be making their debut. Now we do know recently they have been in negotiations with AEW/Ring of Honor. So we'll see where that leads us. Now let's get to the proving ground matches. Now our first one is for the Unified World Trios titles. The Bang Bang Gang face against, of course, the Dark Order. So basically, you would think that the Dark Order would have had a bit of an advantage, but it did not. However, it was, of course, the intense Yuma onto Reynolds that allowed them to retain to make sure that they do not get an opportunity of the belt. So they walked away scot-free. Now our next match is the World Tag Team titles. Of course, the Undisputed Kingdom, Bennett and Taven took on Commander and Metallic. I thought this match was fantastic. Now, it would have been another upset. Now, remember, Bennett and Taven haven't forgotten that the last time they did a match, it was the infantry that got them really good. So they're trying to learn from that mistake. And luckily, they were able to pull it off when, of course, the Rockstar Supernova was applied on Metallic. That allowed them for not to give, of course, these guys another opportunity. Now, our next match is the ROH World, the Pure title, Lee Moriarty versus Wheeler Yuta. Now, we know that Lee Moriarty and Wheeler Yuta are about the same type of technical aspects. But you would think that maybe Yuta would have had an opportunity to ensure that no one would challenge him. Well, apparently this match ended in a time limit draw. So basically Lee Moriarty will have an opportunity for this belt at Death Before Dishonor. So that's probably obvious from there. However, of course, Yuta knows that he's not an idiot. He has to get clear because, of course, Shane Taylor and Anthony Gogo would have gone out and beat him up. But I'm sure that they will be well prepared this time. I think Lee Moriarty has competed in Pure Rules match, but we will see what happens until then. But for right now, that's how this entire show ended. But let's move on with, of course, our last and final thing, news updates. Okay, so welcome to our news updates. So let's begin with updates with the promotions on their upcoming events. Now, as you know, we should be heading to Toronto by GCW for Worst Behavior. 2 matches have been announced, and that is Masha Slamovich versus Jack Cartwheel. Then we have, of course, Megan Bayne versus Jody Threat. So that's going to be up. So by the time this video is out, you probably already guys seen it or not. Now, as you know, this coming week, Sendai Girls will be in Korakuen Hall. They just gave away the full card of the July 15th show. Now, we do know that both the Sendai Girls world title and the Wonder of Stardom title will be defended. Mika Wada defends both belts against Sayuri Onoe. Now, the Sendai Girls tag team titles, Ryo Mizunami and Manami will be defending their belts against Miyu Momono and Yurika Oka. Now, we do have, of course, Chihiro Hashimoto. She'll be facing against the Juggernaut, Jordan Grace. So if any TNA fans are interested, this is one match you definitely don't want to miss. We have, of course, a hardcore rules match. We have Dash Shizako taking on Momo Watanabe. Then we have Nina Samuels and Lena Cross taking on Sareee and Chi-Chi. Aja Kong teams up with Zones and Hiroyo Matsumoto taking on Veni, Miyuki Takase, and Millie McKenzie. Then we have Sakura Iroda taking on Yu, and then finally we have Yuna versus Yuta Suzuki. So that's pretty much for that particular day. Now, we did hear a brand new show is coming up later on called, this one is produced by none other than Blue Justice, Yuji Nagata, called Blue Justice 14. So I'm kind of curious about this one. So we'll see what happens. And then, of course, West Coast Pro has announced a brand new show, but this one's called Friday the 13th because this one lands on September 13th on a Friday. So no announcement yet who's going to be in it, but we'll get to that. Now, PW Insider has reported that, of course, Mustafa Ali was recently this past Wednesday at AEW Dynamite in the backstage. Now, it's still unclear what exactly is going on, but it doesn't surprise me since, of course, AEW were in Chicago, which is where he's from. So, basically, would make sense. Um, Recently, there has been discussions. Now, as you guys know, they announced, of course, the participants for the 5-star Grand Prix by Stardom. Now, apparently, certain fans were noticing something unusual. One particular name was missing in this year's 5-star, and that name is none other than Mina Shitakawa. Now, you probably ask yourselves, why is Mina not participating? Well, it's probably obvious, guys. She has been praised by AEW, so most likely there's the chance that she will appear more often now throughout the entirety of the 5-star Grand Prix to AEW. So it wouldn't surprise me. So we'll see where that leads us. Now, Fightful Selects has reported something interesting. As you know, Ricochet will soon be out of WWE. But there's been reports coming in that on this past Wednesday on AEW, Ricochet's agent was there. So basically, I'm sure Ricochet's agent and AEW are discussing terms of what they're planning to do, but we will see. Now, as you all know, not too long ago, we did hear that Angel Garza his contract with WWE will be expiring soon. But however, now it's been revealed that he has re-signed with WWE, and it's a 3-year contract. So basically, he will be staying with the company. So that's probably obvious. Now, WWE has announced, of course, two filed trademarks, but these trademarks were coming from WCW. We have New Blood Rising and Super Bowl. Now, some people have been talking, could WWE bring back the WCW? I mean, I don't know. That is this one thing we just don't know. I don't know if they think, AEW, just because they brought ROH, they could do the same thing. I don't know. That's something that I've been hearing from various people, but we'll see. Now, as you know, during an autograph session, apparently Saya Kamitani was slandered by some fan, this hosebag, but President Okada speaks about what just happened. You know, we don't wish for people to try to search for the culprit, but he's saying this. We are relieved that Kamitani has recovered both physically and mentally and is putting on good matches. However, we do not wish for people to search for the culprit on social media, so we ask you to refrain from doing so. We will protect our wrestlers at the venue, on social media, at the autograph sessions, at the events. We also strive to ensure that the audience can enjoy themselves. We are currently formulating a spectator rules together with the company, legal department, and management members, and will inform everyone of in the future. In order to able to properly deal with people who are outside the scope of the manual, and in this case, we will thoroughly educate our producers and employees on the manual, and we also thoroughly inform the customers of the rules that they must follow. We do not want to make a decision to cancel autograph sessions or matches because of nuisance behavior. We will do what we can to protect our wrestlers. First of all, we are aiming to make sure that Korakuen doesn't end just with 1,000 attendance. We will do our best to excite, and next week there will be a match for the belt at another promotion. So we will do the best to liven up the worlds of women's professional wrestling. And we would appreciate your cooperation. It's helped live in the industry. So thank you very much for your support. So as you know, there'll be certain things that'll be added, as you know, not to let this thing happen again. So they're asking fans, do not find the moron who said these slanders to Kamitani. So he's trying to make this as a nice, safe environment and not cause any trouble. So we'll see how that goes. As you know, Sareee this coming week will be facing against Julia. So she had this because, as you know, she made it clear to Julia that this is not going to be easy for her. This is what she said. Since Julia said I'm willing to fight, I will step in the ring. I intend to do it too. I'm a very complicated, to be honest, but if Julia steps in the ring, then of course I won't go easy on her, and I will go with the feeling that Julia is in the top condition. So she's not going to hold back. So we'll see what happens. So I think that's pretty much it, what we have for our news updates and everything else. I believe it's time to call it a day. Well, I hope everybody enjoys this episode. Coming up, we do have more with New Japan with New Japan Soul. This one features the IWGP Junior Heavyweight title, Desperado versus Doiki. We do have the finals for both blocks of the G1 qualifying matches. So that's going to be interesting to watch. And then, of course, we have AEW Rampage continuing on with more of Beach Break. And, of course, NXT Level Up. So we will go with those as we speak. But until then, I will see you guys in the next DWZ time. Same DWZ channel. I must bid all of you adieu. So, goodbye. And have a nice day. Bang.